Hello YouTube, I'm Mr. Ben. I am coming at you today with a quick lesson on aperture, how it affects depth of field, and why that can be both a positive and a negative thing. So let's get into it. I'm going to use this image that I pulled off of Google to explain how this works. So aperture gets larger, reduces your depth of field. Also allows more light in and controls how blurry the non-focused subject is. So let's break that down to understand it a little bit better. So if we are shooting at f2.8, as you can see here, nice wide aperture, it's going to allow more light to come in. That means that you're either going to have to increase your shutter speed if you're shooting during the day, or use a neutral density filter to reduce the amount of light that's coming into the lens, which will have an effect on your exposure. This also controls your depth of field. Depth of field controls how much of what is in your composition is in focus. A shallow depth of field will mean that wherever your camera is focused, be it the foreground, the midground, or the background, everything else will generally not be in focus. The farther this way you go, where you're shooting at f8, f11, that lets in less light, slower shutter speed, wider depth of fields, and less blur. So what that means is your background and your subject and foreground have a stronger chance of all being in focus. An issue that arises when you're too far this way is if you are in bright shooting conditions and you do not have a neutral density filter, which is a filter that is very dark that helps reduce the amount of light that goes into your camera lens, you're going to have to shoot at a higher shutter speed, and what may end up happening is you run out of shutter speed and your image is still overexposed, at which case you're going to have to step it back this way to give yourself more space to work with. That is, of course, if you do not have the neutral density filter. The issue, inversely, is if you're shooting on this end of the spectrum, where you have a very large depth of field, you run into the issue where all the little specks of dust on your sensor and on your lenses, if your lenses aren't cleaned, start to show up in your image, which then requires you to Photoshop them out and or reshoot the images with a clean lens and sensor. So both have a bit of a negative aspect to them and positive aspect. Now, looking at shooting with a flash, if you're shooting with a flash and you want a shallow depth of field, you are going to run the risk, if you are shooting during the day, of needing that ND filter. It's almost impossible to shoot with a flash in the middle of the day using a shallow depth of field without an ND filter, unless of course it happens to be a cloudy day, in which case the rules there slightly change. But generally, that is what you're looking at. Now, this is just a basic class, so I won't get into the details of that. But I do hope that this helped you to understand if you are new to photography and you're a little lost. I'm going to talk about a second subject here in this video as a part of my Creative Media 320 class, University of Hawaii West Oahu, and that's the analytics of my YouTube channel. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up, which is why I actually have that here. And what I'm going to talk about is where I see the analytics going and what I hope to get out of them. So what I see with my analytics at this current point in time is there is a slight decline in my watch time, although my average view duration is going up. So what that means is more people are staying on my videos longer, although they might not necessarily be getting as many views, as you can see here as well, that my estimated views over the last 28 days, I'm not sure exactly what this diode here itself means at 54, but as you can see, it is on a downward track. The thing that I'm hoping that will happen though is as I start posting videos more consistently and I stay on the topic of photo and art, that those scales here will start to get into the positive aspect too. What I've noticed through my YouTube channel, and I have one video that really drives a large majority of my traffic, which if we scroll down we can see here, and that's how to prepare a bought canvas for painting. And in the last 28 days alone, this has produced just under 3,000 minutes of watch time, with a total of just under 1,600 views. This video is, since it's been put up, been the #1 driver of traffic to my channel. The how-to video, and I'll tell you, it's short, it's concise and to the point, and I don't blabber on quite nearly as much as I do in a lot of my videos now. So I may try to get back into that where I just stay on topic and I'm very clean and concise about what it is that I'm doing. If we look here at my lifetime analytics, let that come up, you will see that we have a total of 98,694 total minutes of watch time, and I didn't really start producing videos until about 2 years ago, and that was very inconsistent at the time. And I was at one point in time a YouTube partner, which is why I have this. But due to the restructuring, thanks to the antics of people who are really well followed on YouTube, namely Logan Paul and his dead body incident, causing the restructuring of YouTube, I am currently no longer a YouTube partner. Or I'm a YouTube partner, but I'm not able to monetize my videos until I get my subscriber level up. This here actually says that I have 119 subscribers, but on my other, on the home page, it shows I have 121. And as you can see here, as I was saying, the how to prepare the store-bought canvas is my #1 driver of traffic, and I hope to make more videos, like I said, like this, that are informative and to the point. And I'll go ahead and link this video on a end video card at the end of this, so you can see what it is I'm talking about. So most of my traffic does come from the United States. I was a little surprised by this though. I do have a decent number coming from India, which I wouldn't suspect initially until I looked at this, and I was like, oh, that's surprising because, you know, I would assume being a just under middle aged white guy that a majority of my traffic would come from uh, YouTube, or sorry, the United States. Gender. This is actually funny because gender here shows for the lifetime, but if you switch back to the 28 day, you'll notice. What are we at here? You'll notice YouTube no longer actually tracks gender or something else that they weren't tracking anymore. I don't remember exactly what that is off the top of my head, and it has to do with they're saying it's a privacy issue. Evidently, they don't want people gearing their videos trying to attract small children for human trafficking or something of that nature. That is, of course, just a speculation, but more than likely a pretty strong argument. Anyway, I do hope that through the more consistency of posting videos and staying on a general topic range instead of being all over the place, that all of these graphs will start to take a positive climb. I hope that you join me along for that journey, and I'll keep you guys updated from time to time as the graph shifts around. Um, if you find this video useful, helpful, or informative, drop me a comment, let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to, and click the notification bell. YouTube's algorithm now is making it so that if you don't click the notification bell, you may not be informed that I make a new video. So if you could do those and share this video if you think it'll help the new photographer in your life. Thank you very much. This is Mr. Ben signing out.